Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is October 20th at just after 6 p.m. We have 4 members of the Conservation Commission present. They would be myself, Peter Crane, Skip Clark. Oh, good, here's Mark. Jared Gentilucci and Melissa Danza. I therefore declare that we have a quorum and open this, the October 20 meeting of the Conservation Commission. I am going to waive the reading of the remote viewing. We all know how to behave by now. So all well and good. People keep joining. So let us start with, let's go to the right place right here. As you can tell, I'm doing a great many things here between controlling Zoom and trying to manage the display here. And yes, you guys should all be able to see this on Zoom. You can see the agenda, please, yes?
Yeah, we can see the agenda. We just can't see the people that
Right.
have their cameras on.
Oh, you can't. I'm not sure anybody, nobody does. Nobody has the cameras on. So let us go straight in. Let's look at the meeting minutes of the previous meeting, which I can find given 6 or 7 hours. All right. I admit I have not read all the way through this, so I'm going to give it a quick scan. Holy cow, do we have people today? All right, so first we need the motion, then we can decide, then we can discuss. Or, yeah, we should have a motion and a second for discussion to accept the minutes.
I can't help you because I wasn't here.
That's right, you can't.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from our October 6th meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so Melissa. So Tamika,
Yes.
right here, the location of the well, the further away than originally planned, it's further away from the wetlands.
Oh, gotcha.
So that just to avoid confusion.
Okay, I will make that amendment.
So many names. Tamika, have you heard from Julian lately?
Yep. I forwarded you guys an email maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and all he said was that the licenses have been extended until November.
Right. No, my question is really
no.
My question is really, do we know he's going to be here tonight, or have any faith that he's going to be here tonight?
Nope, I haven't heard a word from anybody on it.
All right, we'll give him until we start, and then it'll be that. I need to give an update on this. Okay. So, as a friendly amendment to accept the minutes as amended. Okay.
Can we make a motion?
What's that? No, we don't need a new motion because we're just working on the motion. So you need to say it so Tamika can hear you.
I'll revise the motion to accept the minutes as amended.
And the second's okay, Melissa?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I kept muting and unmuting.
All right, roll call on this. Finally, Clark is abstain. Gentilucci?
Aye.
Danza?
Aye.
Crane, aye. Motion carries. Let's get rid of that. Yes, I spoke for you, Skip. I
It's
know.
okay. No, I have no problem because I would have abstained anyway.
That's right. So we have an RDA submission today. Let me pull up that one. So this is the actual RDA from the L-bags. Now, back up. Some time ago, we did a site walk for the Blair property for their NOI. While we were there, somebody made a comment like, it's not in the butter, but someone who lived nearby made a comment to the effect of is modifying land within 15 feet of the water an issue for us? And we said, yes, it is absolutely. We went and found, and it turns out the L-bags were doing some repairs. So I'm actually going to try and scroll down here so that we can talk about the text that he wrote. So fundamental repair of timbers that were acting as a retention wall, basically, just before the beach. Repair of timbers in kind on portion of wall between beach and lawn areas. All lawn areas stabilized with sod within 72 hours of work. No other disturbance. Silt fence in place while work performed. Work done to prevent stormwater from washing out beach. And I'm not going to even try to argue with that. Here is the picture Mr. Elbag sent us. So these are the timbers that were replaced, including the stairs, right, Mark?
Yeah, correct. I'm actually standing on a piece of wall in that picture that wasn't repaired. And the wall did 90 degrees. So this section that ran parallel to the pond was in very tough shape, collapsing. The stormwater was running down the hill, washing out the beach. The lawn area really wasn't lawn at all. It was, dead crabgrass that then just turned into dirt. So really we, selectively replaced the wall as needed and got everything stabilized.
See, now if I had thought about this in advance, I would have brought up the picture that we took of the timbers and what condition they were and that you had removed. But that's going to be too hard to find on this notice. I didn't think about it in advance. But I have to say, Jared, I'll let you or Melissa speak. About what we saw and what you think about what we experienced there.
Yeah, the old timber pieces were pretty much rotted all the way through. They were in really bad shape. Because we saw the pile, which was up further away from here, further from the pond, was up near the road. And you could clearly see they had deteriorated pretty severely.
Mm-hmm. And when we got there, silt fence was up. There were no surprises there. He was doing his best to hold back the beach from any erosion. I get that. And the work was along. And we also agreed that the collapsing wall made an immersion situation, so we understand not filing in advance. Melissa, do you have anything else to say?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. I would say in the future, just be cognizant of work being done in this area. And Mark, did DCR have to sign off on anything for this?
I haven't filed anything with DCR just because it was replacement in kind. But I could certainly send them a copy of this, I would think.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure that you are not outstanding any permits with them, considering the proximity and location.
So given all that, I'm just going to close this picture and go to, I mean, I don't know if there's anything. Right, all the disturbed areas were above the replaced timbers. I have to admit, even based on that picture, there was no disturbance of the sand other than with the washout. So my only question is, what is the question before us today? And I guess the answer is another filing required? So the first thing is the work depicted in the plans reference subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. I could say, how can it not be? It's on the shore of the lake or pond or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, so it's ultimately the commission just needs to decide if the RDA is sufficient or if an NOI would be required considering the type of work and location to the pond.
Right, so let me also pull up, because I did this already. So this is the property right here. The fence is round, I'm a fence. The timbers are maybe even a little lower. There, this is all the sandy beach, and the house is up here. So Mark, what's the distance average from the shore to the timbers, roughly?
I would say probably 15 to 20 feet, depending on the water level of the pond.
Right.
And the wall runs parallel with the pond. The wall's actually kind of limited to the southerly portion of the lot to the south of that dashed line.
Right.
Essentially, it's on lot 5.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. This is one of those dual lot things where there's a different house up here, and so the house is really in this section.
Well, no, the house is 4 and 5, but the beach kind of ends on half the lot. The other half of the lot has our just grass and dock.
Ah, okay. All right.
So that, the beach doesn't run the full frontage. It's probably less than half the lot, really.
Okay. So
But
what
again,
is the commission's...
Again, the reason for not filing was the limited to almost no disturbance. There was certainly no disturbance during a precipitation event. And you folks probably saw it when it was the most disturbed.
Right. So what's the commission's pleasure on this?
I'll admit I'm uncomfortable issuing a determination or a negative determination for work this close to a wetland. Typically even placement of a shed, which would be a lot less impactful inside, this area, maybe an RDA, but to have this sort of work done, within that 15, 20 feet is very close. I would agree that it was necessary. I'll say that too, especially considering the storm events that were coming.
Jared, your thoughts?
I agree with the last part, Melissa, but I think the intentions obviously were good, that the wall needed to be repaired in order to prevent further erosion, migration of sediment into the pond. So I think the intentions were definitely good. The way I look at this one is, if the work had never been done and this were coming in front of us today as a proposed project, because of its proximity to the pond, I would probably lean towards a notice of intent. Even though the actual amount of work is not super extensive, it's not like you're regrading the whole lot, building a new house. It's mostly repair work. It sounds like it was basically done in a day, pretty well stabilized by the end of the day with the sod, which is good. But I do kind of agree with Melissa. I think if you look at it by the letter of the law, there should have been a filing, and it leans more towards an NOI in my mind, just because of the proximity to the resource area. And granted, there's not a lot of disturbance, but there's some disturbance to repair the wall. And as you mentioned, they had the silt fence already up, so they were protecting the resource area. So again, I think good intentions there, and the work had to be done.
Yeah, I'd also add to that, just for, I guess, for anyone who's listening, even if we issued an emergency certification, NOI after the fact is required still. So even if we kind of issued it that way, the process would still be the same.
Okay, so Skip, thoughts?
No, the process would be the same even if it was an emergency repair, so I guess you gotta do the NOI.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it should be, because he did a repair, and if he didn't do it, everything would be down under the pond.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I personally don't think it should have to go that far, but I'm the new member on the board, and I really don't know all the ins and outs, so.
Okay, well, I've got to say I have to go along with a more conservative approach and require the NOI in this case. So, I mean, granted, we didn't take a formal vote, and I don't think we need to take a formal vote. Well, we do need to.
I was just going to ask through the chair, is it easier if I withdraw the RDA and then file the NOI?
I think that's totally up to you, Mark.
Probably would be easy.
Yeah, feel free. It's less paperwork I have to sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just send an email to Mika saying you're formally withdrawing your RDA.
Okay, very good. That way we can, like I said, limit the paperwork and the back and forth.
So Jennifer McGinnis from DCR has just joined us. Jennifer, we were here to talk about Finn Park Road, whichever number that is, for the RDA.
Yep. Sorry, I was late.
That's okay. We just had a discussion about it. The fast answer is a wall was decaying and falling apart, so he replaced it. We considered it emergent, having seen what we saw on site when we were there. We happened to be there for another site walk. And so we just came by. The commissioners there thought for sure agreed that it was an emergent situation. We just had a discussion, says an NOI should really be done.
Okay. I'm sorry, is this an existing lot?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a house that's yes, this one's been existing. The house has been there for 30 years, Mark, 40.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I mean, obviously I've been up and down Finn Park Road, but I'm just not real familiar with all the house lots there.
Oh, I'm not surprised. We had a heck of a time finding it.
Okay.
Okay. So Mark's going to withdraw the RDA and submit an NOI, right?
Right. Yeah, because if he's in a resource area, he has to submit an NOI. So, I will check and see if he has to submit anything with DCR. Usually normal repairs of an existing structure are exempt, but I can double check that tomorrow.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Mark,
Thank
can
you.
I get your, I'm not going to ask for your contact information over Zoom, but is it okay for the commission to give it to me tomorrow via email?
Yeah, Tamika has it all. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
I'll send it to you, Jen.
All right. That'll be awesome.
Great, thanks very much. Let us move along. Unless I'm terribly mistaken, next, I am now going to reopen the hearing for the notice of intent for Clea and Nancy Blair at Finn Park Road, 44, I think, Finn Park Road. One piece of news at the last meeting, as the minutes showed, we were concerned that the engineer's license had expired and therefore his stamp was invalid. It turns out that the licensing authorities have extended the licensing period, so all the stamps are valid, so that we don't need to hold it up for that. Tamika, we have a DEP number for this one, right? I know I keep asking the same question.
Yes, we do.
All right. What else are we waiting for to close the hearing?
I'm sorry, again, joining late.
Yep.
Is this for the Blair parcel on Finn
Yep.
Park?
Yes, it is.
I thought the Board of Health said he couldn't get a septic permit.
He has applied for a variance because in our regulations and state regs, there's a hardship variance that allows a well to be within 50 feet of the septic, but he's going before the Board of Health on that appeal. And we are just continuing the hearing because, quite frankly, that doesn't impact our wetlands.
Okay, but there's also a regulation that you can't be within 100 feet of a drinking water supply. And that only can be waived by the State Board of Health, not by the Town Board of Health.
Ah,
We had that issue come up on Detention Pond was one of the ones that
okay.
it came up on, and the DEP wrote a letter to the Town Board of Health stating that can't be waived at a town level.
Okay. That's good information. Would you do me a favor and do you have my email? Oh, that's okay. Send it to Tamika. I know you've got hers.
Yeah, I got her.
And she'll forward that information to us, and we will contact the applicant to ensure that he's aware of that.
Okay. Yeah, your Board of Health should be aware of it because they got a letter from DEP about a year ago.
Mhm.
But people forget things. But that is a requirement if it's a tributary to a drinking water source or a wetland to a drinking water source. The local Board of Health cannot waive that setback of 100 feet.
Okay. That's very good to know. I was unaware. I'll make sure the applicant knows. I'll CC the Board of Health because it can never hurt.
Right. I can probably, if I can find it, I can probably forward you the letter. I mean, again, it's for a different parcel, but it's the same.
No, that's same issue is fine with me because I can reword it. Yeah. I can plagiarize and reword as well as anybody.
And also, I believe that lot was in existence before the Cohen Act, but we would want the applicant to file with us for an advisory ruling or a determination because it clearly says that as far out of the 200 foot to the extent practicable. Mm-hmm. So we would have some say in where the house and et cetera could be.
Okay. Happy to pass that along.
Okay, thank you. And if you can hear my dog crying in the background, I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not murdering a child. It's apparently dinner time.
Peter, is that something you're going to communicate, or would you like me to?
I'm sorry, say that again, Tamika.
Something that you're going to communicate to Julian and Blair, or is that something you'd like me to do?
That's one I should probably do as chair.
Okay, no problem. I just want to make sure.
Does the commission anyone in the commission have any other thoughts or comments about this to update? No. I'll even open this up to the public. If you'd raise your hand, I'm happy to let you speak.
And I guess, Peter, just to remind everyone, we were also looking for like the planting type plan, especially for that bottom part.
Oh, that's true. And we do have Lindsay. Lindsay, name and address, please. And unmute yourself and
Hi there, Lindsay Gwither, 34 Glenwood Road. I've been attending these meetings. I think this is the 6th one on this particular topic. But I did want to share some new information that has come about since the last time that we were meeting. Let's see. So I'm a member of the Detention Pond Watershed Association, and the association opted this year to obtain an independent water quality analysis, because it had never been done before, and we're just kind of curious about the health of the pond water. And this was undertaken by Environmental Testing and Research Laboratories, Inc. I think they're in Leominster. And this relates to concerns I've brought up previously about the fragility of Finn Park Road and my great concerns with a construction project of this type that would bring all kinds of heavy equipment, not only during the construction, but sustainably thereafter for all kinds of utilities and repairs and trash hauling, etc. We can all agree that the road is in terrible condition and is washing out into the pond. The microanalysis report from this independent laboratory study did identify there is a large quantity of sand and mineral sediment. In fact, the particle count is too numerous to count. And this was from the president of the Detention Pond Watershed Association. He identified that these large quantities of sand and mineral sediment reflect issues of sediment flowing and filling into the pond from the road.
do you mind sending that to us?
I could forward that to you, certainly.
Good. Tamika, give your email address, please.
If she just goes to the Concom page and clicks on my name, it should go right to me.
Okay, I'll send it to Tamika.
Perfect.
Okay.
And that will, we'll get it. We'll look at it for next time, because we're point blank. We are going to continue this hearing, so we'll just look at that data and determine how it applies to this application. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Hearing no more, I'll take a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Roll call. Clark.
Aye.
Gentillucci.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Now, we did not say when we'll continue it to, because we know we are not meeting November 3. That's election day. So I'm going to take something slightly out of order in the agenda. And I don't think we want a decision right now. I think we will want a decision by the end of the meeting. If we're going to hold a special meeting, let me just say, for the sake of argument, November 4. Or if we want to wait until the following regularly scheduled meeting. Both are acceptable to me. I think we ought to start by seeing how timely anything on our agenda for that meeting is going to be. I'm going to maintain this continued hearing need not be so timely that we have to rush to a special meeting. But there may be something else that we'll want to do. The commission, we will make that decision later. But so in general, I would say that Skip's motion to continue is to our next meeting, whenever that is.
Yes, it is. So actually, you're looking at the 17th.
Yes, the 17th will be our next regularly scheduled meeting. It could be. It's notice of intent. That's what we just did. So we're not going to do this vote because it's been done. All right, let's start with discussions. 40 Prescott Street. Do we have? I didn't see anything in the folder, Tamika, for
No,
this display.
I reached out to Chris Spalding and I never heard back from him.
Uh-huh.
Yep, so I don't have any information to share, unfortunately. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
because we were looking for a status report.
Mhm.
How far through his
Right.
planting he is, what the I know we got some planting information, but I don't know we never got a plan. I don't know that we know full plan, but we never got, to my mind, enough information. Is it maybe time for a site walk? No, I'll wait until the next meeting and let someone tell us the current status. And even if we certainly don't hear anything by then, we'll schedule a site walk anyway, just to see how things are going there. All right.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we were kind of wondering the same thing with DCR. I know Alan, one of my coworkers, has been in contact, and they came up with a plan that is acceptable to us. But again, we're not looking at 9 values of wetlands, so I'm not sure if it's acceptable to you guys. But then we haven't heard anything either on like if it's getting implemented or anything. I was planning to go out there this coming Friday, just a drive, windshield survey of what's going on.
Sure.
Because we're all working remote right now, so we try to we try to make the field day encompass as many sites as possible. So I'll do a drive-by on Friday, but I haven't heard if they started it or if you guys accepted their plan. That's kind of what I was wondering.
Okay. We had negotiated a plan that we accepted.
Okay. Do you know
that Alan was there also.
Okay. All right. Yep.
So the good news is he knows, and he had no objections to the plan. Really what we were doing was expanding, ensuring that what we wanted done on our areas of concern were also properly dealt with the plan and to deal with the plantings. And there was sort of one of the weak part in the parts of the plan, the weakest part probably is the fact that no one knows what plants are going to be available to plant this time of year. And we have not heard for certainly 4 weeks what the current set and state is. So that's why we had hoped he would be here. Tamika, do we have Mary's contact info?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if we need to, we can go directly to the landowner.
Yes.
I believe she's away for the. I don't know if she's still away. Last I heard, she was going to be gone for a couple months, but perhaps she checks her email or cell phone or whatever. So
it's true that we have not seen her in some time, and I agree that she certainly gets a lot of time off and to travel. Lucky her. But we'll try to ping. Yes, ma'am.
I apologize for interrupting. So I literally just got an email from Chris Spalding right now. And I will forward it to you as we speak so that you can pull it up and see what he had to say. Okay, I just sent it to you.
Oh, he sent it to me too.
Even better.
His ears must have been ringing.
I know, right?
Where's the magic message?
So, Peter, I just want you to know, you guys do an awesome job with the Zoom meeting for the ComCom. I'm the chair of my ComCom, and I'm like, I have to do it just like him because you do a really great job with displaying. Very impressed.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'd recommend copying everything I do, but I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
You do a great job. Well, we do it virtually and in person. So,
right.
And I want to just do it all virtually because I can't see the audience because I'm not there. I kind of distracting, but you guys do a great job. Just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. So the response from Chris Spalding, I will read it into the record. Hello, Tamika. I apologize for the delay in response, but I just wanted to ensure that we gave the commission the most up-to-date information and status of which I received today on the restoration progress at the Moody parcel. As of today, several species of plants have been planted and are moving forward with restoration, but have not been completed the restoration by October 15th deadline. Okay. Moody's have taken this restoration plantings upon themselves and are having trouble locating available plants at the local nurseries. I think that comes as no surprise to us today. Sorry, editorializing. Thus, they are venturing further away for the remaining plantings. Again, the Moody's are making a good faith effort to meet the agreed upon planting deadline, but will need a bit more time. At this time, by the number of plantings put in place, they are half completed. I'll follow up with another report with more detail and photos prior to your meeting in 2 weeks. Snicker. At which time we are hopeful all plantings will be in place. As been reported to me as of today, the following plants have been put in place: 2 red osier dogwoods. I'm not going to even try to read the Latin today. 2 chokeberries, 3 blueberries, 1 white birch, and 2 winterberry. Anything further? If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact. Okay. So if he's half done and put in 2 dogwoods, a birch, and 5, between berries and cherries, another 7 plants, and that's halfway done. Does that sound about right?
I have to go back and look at the plan.
Yeah, I have to look at the plan too. I don't remember anymore.
Let me see if I can find it.
Peter, if you go in the Google Drive and click under old meetings.
All right.
In there, I just have to remember which meeting it was.
Wait, go up here. Oh, that was a sort. That wasn't a go up. Oh, because this is. Oh, the link I followed took me to the only this meeting link and not to the link that has all the directories in it. I can find that.
Peter, it's in the folder on the drive for the September 15th meeting.
Oh, I should have said from Tamika too, I'll bet.
I may have the final restoration plan. I'm not. I have an email from Alan that says, please find the final restoration plan. I don't know if it's changed since then, but if you want, I could.
Peter, I just found it, Peter, and I'm forwarding it to you.
Okay, I think I found the Google Drive link. Let's see where this takes me.
Peter, I found it too, at least the one I'm seeing. It has the species listed. It doesn't have a number, though, for everything.
Well, actually, let's, hold on, bring you over here. And then let's zoom in a bit so we can read it. Oh, you know what? I know he forwarded me the final. I just need to find it again. But that's all right. This is going to be close enough. I don't see anything here on numbers either.
He does note that they're being planted no more than 10 feet apart. And then we do have some total lengths for the buffer zones. So we could probably back into an approximate number.
The only other thing that I wish he had indicated was in which area have the plantings been done. Because I don't know if that's plantings solely along the stream or solely along this wetland edge, if I could move it, or if it's both, or if some of it's each.
So note 1 below indicate, actually that note right there, 15 foot wide by 155 foot long buffer, that's
Yep.
along the stream. And then 10 foot wide by 100 foot long buffer, that's along the BVW.
Right, yep.
So based on those numbers, we're probably looking at plus minus 20 to 25 plantings.
So we're in the ballpark,
Or
certainly.
somewhere around
So
there. So-
halfway, I
so
mean,
yeah.
again, with what he expected the
About
numbers were
halfway
going to be, well, that is about halfway.
That seems reasonable.
All right. Well, I'm glad he contacted us, even with the questions that I'm not sure about. I'm not sure what other action we can take, because he did reach out. That's good.
Mhm.
If he expects to be done in 2 weeks, that's even better. And even if it goes a little farther, then it'll just mean harder for the plants to take. I'd actually be more concerned, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but my first thought would be, I don't know, the dogwoods and the trees would take as well later in the season. Then I could be wrong about that. But
It's pretty wet out there.
it is wet, and as long as we don't get a killing frost.
It's warm for the next week.
Yeah.
And it's a little cooler after that. But if it's done in the next couple weeks, it might be okay.
Yep.
I'll have to see. Yeah, I'll have to see.
Fair enough. All right. So I don't think we have any other action to take this evening. I mean, I'm happy we got the update. Let me get this out of the way. Let me close some of this stuff. You read this, so you'll copy this into the record, right, Tamika?
Yes, yep, and I'll respond to Chris as well.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just ask him the basic location of the plants that have been, if it's along the stream bed or along the BVW.
Sure.
It's just information I'd like to get
Sure, no problem.
to close out this phase, and then hopefully it'll all be done and they can get all the plants they want. Okay. Moving on, application for street acceptance, Brice-Lemon Estates. So let me bring up, let's see if I did this right. Yes, I did. So Brice-Lemon Estates is being built in 5 phases. Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 is fairly late in process, but not done. Phase 3 is very early in the process, and phase 4 and 5 have effectively not been begun at all. Phase 1 being complete as far as the Blairs are concerned, or Brice-Lemon Estates is concerned. They, through their attorney, have asked the town to take the section of Woodside Ave that goes along with that taking. I am going to ask you, Tamika, to write a letter that says that the Conservation Commission takes no position on the acceptance of these roads by the town.
Got it.
Because frankly, there's nothing jurisdictional for us. Anyone? No, that was my idea. Any objections from anyone on the commission?
Nope.
No, I like that idea.
Okay.
Peter, do we need a motion, do you think, to send the letter?
It probably wouldn't hurt.
I'll make a motion that Peter send a letter to the
Select board.
select board stating that we have no jurisdiction, and Peter to sign it.
Second.
Quick roll call vote. Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Crane, aye. Okay, there. That's an easy thing. Thanks for pointing that out, Tamika. You were right. So that covers that. What's next on our agenda? Man, if we could whip through these so quickly. Alas, we cannot. So let's have a follow-up on Brice-Lemon Estates. Let's crank back in time a couple meetings where we have on and off received a number of complaints about water flow down the roads and erosion of lots. Some of it might be getting into the wetlands. That day I could not attend, but Melissa and Jared did, and they gave us their report at the last meeting. The last meeting, based on the report of a number of wetlands concerns and some other concerns as well, I had asked that a meeting be set up with a couple department heads and the builder and the appropriate people to try and come to rapid conclusion on some of these concerns. 2 days later, Gary Delmain from the DEP sent email saying, "Hey, I'm going to be out there tomorrow," because he was intending to go and walk the phase 3, basically the detention pond and all of the stormwater, because that's really all that's done at this point. I said, sure, I'd love to come along. Alas, I was the only person from conservation who could make it, but Norm Anderson from planning was also there. I unfortunately couldn't stay for the entire site walk, but here are things that I do know. We actually started at Oakley and talked about the water and the little mini berms they put in to try to redirect the water towards the storm drains and how that wasn't doing any good, really. And then the water would run down, run across Woodside, and erode that property. On that day, when I met with Tom Larson, who was their basic project manager, he said that we're going to put in a much larger catch basin around the corner on Oakley, around the corner from the current catch basin, from the current stormwater drain. He was going to put it up and then connect it to that basin basically to cut across the grass lot. Mm-hmm. So if you're on Woodside looking at Oakley, it's near the corner at the first house on the right. And in fact, it's supposed to be double the width and, well, the length, depending on your point of view. It's a double length storm drain grate, and it's also supposed to have some waterfall feature to make it easier for water to cascade into the storm drain system. I have since received pictures that tell me that is being installed. I do not yet have notification of completion of that. But that, along with a little more, they don't call it grading of the road. I forget what they call it, but they're going to do a little more to keep the crown high and the edges a little lower, so that it's more likely that more water will work towards the storm drains that are present. At least that's the plan. If for some reason this storm drain is still insufficient to stop water running across Woodside and down somebody's property, then they have other plans for another storm drain, larger storm drain on Woodside. But that's an if. First, we have to see how this one performs when it's done. Questions on that part before I move on?
I'm trying to remember, is the phase 1 portion, does that have curb along the edge of the road, or is it no curb?
Yes, it does. The discussion of the planning board says they have curb already.
Okay. So I'm assuming eventually this portion, this is phase 2, right? This area?
Correct. This is the far edge of phase 2.
Okay. Would eventually get curb, but it doesn't have that yet.
Right.
Okay.
Other things that have been done, which I'm happy to see, once we had a nice conversation with the people. So on Oakley, there are 2 lots that are not yet built, but that have a lot of loose dirt on them. And in fact, I've been told they're under contract, so they're going to start building, but they still put in better erosion controls so that water and sediment doesn't run down from those 2 lots. We'll see how well that works. Again, when we get a decent rainstorm, which probably won't be very far away. I think that's it for Oakley. That's it for that section of Woodside. Next, we went to the big detention pond.
Well, Peter, before you
Yes.
get to that, was there any discussion about the swale at the very upper end on Oakley?
We never covered that, and that's,
Okay.
I had forgotten about that when I was there, but I'm getting ready to have another site walk with Tom to say, okay, here's the stuff I forgot about. Because I remember that's the one where there wasn't riprap, but it just completely eroded, right?
Right.
Okay.
And based on our conversation with the homeowners, they were under the impression that it wasn't going to change. That what it looked like when Melissa and I were out there is what it would continue to look like, which was basically just a bare
Continual
earth
eroding
swale.
bare earth,
Yes, and there were exposed tree roots and things like that.
Yeah. And that'll be great. That'd be great for all the trees that are trying to survive.
Yeah.
Okay. So no, we haven't looked at that one.
Okay.
After that, I do see your hand raised. We'll get to you after I finish my report, if you don't mind. We went down to the detention pond that's near the entrance, because that's the one that has the connection to the rail trail. So I think we may have gone to the wrong detention pond that you were reporting problems with, because some of the problems that we saw that you reported, I did not see, which just said I'm at the wrong place. I read something wrong.
Was the one you went to in the phase 2 or phase 3 portion?
Oh no, actually I didn't even talk about phase 3. Phase 3 we walked first. No, this was at phase 1/2.
Okay.
And again, I'd have to look at a map to say for sure if it was a phase 1 or phase 2, because as I said, it's the one that is the connection to the rail trail that crosses DCR property, which is why the slope going down from the berm is so steep and couldn't possibly meet ADA. I don't want to say requirements. Requirements is the wrong word because it's a trail. So it's ADA recommendations.
Peter, that's the one that they're going to have a bike trail go over the detention pond. So if you fall off, you'll drown on the way to the rail trail. That one?
Yes, exactly. What is that a problem, Jen?
It is. It's scary to walk across. I don't want to ride my bike. Yeah, I've looked at that detention pond. It wasn't built to the way it was drawn in the original plans, and they had to come back to us because of a violation.
Oh.
So I don't know. That, I mean, this was like 5 years ago or 4 years ago when they first put it in. We noticed it wasn't built to design. But right. I believe it's still, quote, temporary, and they're gonna spruce it up before they finalize it.
Oh, really? Because
well, there was last time I was out there, and it was like a year ago that I looked at it, but there was a lot of sediment in it. So I don't know if they should really clean it at some point.
Yeah, if this one had a lot of plants in the bottom, you couldn't see a ton of sediment, and they said this was in its final form. So
okay, so maybe they finalized it since the last time I looked at it.
Right.
But yeah, if it's the one that connects to has the path that goes to the rail trail.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, they had to go back and get a variance from us because it wasn't. It was built within the 200 foot. So.
Okay. That's interesting. So I had, based on the report from last time in an email with Melissa, I did send Gary and Tom. I had to leave then. I was out of time, and Norm. They all went off to look at the phase 2 detention pond to evaluate it for silt fence, sedimentation, whether it needed to be cleaned. I actually never got a report back from anyone about that, so I'll ask Tom about that. I can send him an email directly. And we will, right. So there were some areas of fence along that first detention pond of silt fence and sedimentation control that were just gone. But it was Gary's position that because it was already in final form and the land was stable with plants, with ground cover basically, that it did not represent a risk to the wetlands, and so he didn't need to put up any more fences there. And as a rule, when the DEP guy's in charge, I let the DEP guy get his way. But since as I said, I never got to the detention pond that's in phase 2. So I don't know the state of that one. Does the commission have questions?
I don't think so at this point. I'd be curious to see what else, Gary found when he was out there, but that's about it.
Right. So before we let the public in, which I will soon, honest and for true, I would like to set up a site walk with Jared and Melissa to go over all the areas that you saw problems to make sure that, and in fact, if we can do it during the week, I don't know that we can. If we can, then I can have Tom there. And when we have the project manager there, he understands and he does. But in any event, I need to make sure I understand what you guys saw on your walk. So I was thinking, since we can't do the TRC site walk this Saturday, that maybe we could do a Brice site walk update. Doesn't have to be very, very long, but it should be long enough. I mean, you guys know how long you walked around that time. We can actually look at the new grate. We can look at the erosion controls. We can actually look at that swale.
Yep.
And we can look at whatever you guys saw on your site walk. As I said, I want to see it and understand it. So Melissa, are you available Saturday or Sunday?
I tore a ligament in my foot, so I'm pretty immobile.
I'm sorry to
if
hear
Jared's
that.
available, that might be the best course of action, unless you want to send the fire department to get me out. I can probably go down, but I can't get back up.
It's the back up again. Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
Melissa,
I can yell from the edge. I mean, if Jared's not available, I can definitely show you where to go, worst case scenario.
Right, and maybe we'll just call you and drag you along on our journey.
I can definitely do that.
Peter, did you say you were thinking Saturday or Sunday? Or
Yeah, take your pick, whatever. Yeah. I'm free both days, so yes, I'm free both days.
I think we're thinking in the morning, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's generally better.
I think.
And I haven't looked at the weather.
Oh, that's a good point. I think Sunday morning would be better for me. I can possibly make Saturday morning work.
Now,
too.
if it's easier on Sunday, we'll make it Sunday because it's you and me, and it looks like.
Oh, Sunday's not bad.
No, Sunday's okay.
Okay. I would say let's plan for Sunday morning.
Sunday. Our usual 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Good.
That sounds good.
So expect texts from us. Oh, what did I do? Why isn't it here? Uh-oh. I know I added it. But now it's not here, so now I need to do it again. Site walk at Brice. I'm having trouble working my phone right now. That's what's taking so long. Starts October 25 at 10 a.m. Yeah, that's good. Add. Oh, you know what's funny? When you add it to Sunday and you look on Saturday and you don't see it and you add it again, you get two things on Sunday. So, all right, so we'll get together Sunday. We'll take a look and we'll get advice and consent from Melissa.
Yeah, if you need me, just call me or text me, and I don't live far, so I can just head over if you need me. Walking boot and all. Maybe I'll borrow my husband's scooter because he broke his foot. So.
Oh, you guys.
We're a good household this week.
After all, it's 2020. Let's not ask what else can happen.
Right.
Let's
It's
just
got like all-terrain tires, man. I can do it.
All right, so this is our report and our status. We believe things are going to get better. Other things. I'd forgotten to say silt bags will be installed in every storm drain from phase 2 and hopefully from now on.
That's good.
I think that's it. I'm going to save phase 3 comments for a little bit. So if anyone here, I know there have been hands raised and they've all lowered. If anyone has comments or questions, you're invited to ask now. Please raise your hand. Maybe I've answered them all. Oh, there's one. It's from iPhone. Name and address, please. And you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi, my name is Nick Nugent. I live at 9 Sedona Circle.
Hi, Nick.
I was just curious if you guys had received the pictures and videos I sent to Tamika this afternoon, which were taken today. Just wanted to bring that to attention and so you guys can look at that when you come out to visit on Saturday.
Yes, we will certainly do that. The fast answer is yes, we got them. Let me go back and see if I can. Because I have that silly search going. Ugh. And I'm pressing the wrong darn button. I'm not trying to be obtuse. I'm just trying to make sure that I have everything that you sent. I remember seeing that the video came through. Tamika said the pictures were there also. I just want to very quickly look at the email to make sure that I have all the pictures as well. There we go. So there's the video. Oh, yes,
so
we have.
If you want me to explain real quick, I was trying to capture the silt in the detention pond. The video is of there's like a small catch basin on the other side of the detention pond. It looks as if it was designed for overflow.
Okay.
The video, it's tough to see on it, but you guys might be able to see it. There's groundwater flowing directly up into that. You can actually see the current, and there's swirling leaves. It's kind of tough to see on the video, but it was noticeable in person. The pictures that are, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, what day were these taken?
These were taken today at about 2 p.m.
Great, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And the pictures that appear to be in the woods are actually from down on the rail trail. One was on the neighborhood side. There's a small like gully which tipped my eye when I was on my bike ride, which looks like silt. And then there's actually a stream that's flowing down into the wetlands of some sort, which has silt as well. So I just wanted to explain that, wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. If you follow that crushed stone trail down into the woods, you can see what I'm talking about pretty easily.
Okay. We will add that to
all
our
I have
list
on
of
that.
things. We will absolutely add that to our list of things to look at.
Thank you, much appreciated.
You're very welcome. I'll watch the video later. I'm not going to watch it here right now. Are there any other questions or comments from the public?
Yeah, Peter, Steve Maintainus, 51 Woodside. I guess I was a little caught off guard when you had said that there was, no sediment issues going into the pond, earlier tonight. I know last during the last meeting, I know that was a concern that was brought up when you guys were speaking, saying that there was some sediment issues. So I guess I was a little caught off guard to hear that.
Well, what I can say, did I say that there were not sedimentation issues or sediments in the?
I believe you did.
I don't remember saying that, but that doesn't mean I didn't.
Not in the pond, you said in the sediment area, not sediment growing in the pond. You didn't say that.
Right. Okay. So it would not. I believe it's generally accepted, even by Tom Larson, that there is lots of sediment in the detention ponds and in some of the ways to them. I thought that to be well established fact. So if I said something that contradicts that, I apologize.
It could have been I could have misinterpreted what you were saying. I guess obviously that's a concern to us all here. Again, we've been preaching it on our Concom meetings, on the planning board meeting. We're worried about the HOA here and liability stemming from these drainage issues, obviously. So just, again, trying to, put that on your mind, when looking at this. So when you guys, I know that you have nothing to do with it according to what you're saying tonight, but, acceptance of that first phase road, that's a huge concern to us, because ultimately that liability is falling on our shoulders once that road gets accepted and that HOA goes into effect. So just wanted to bring that to your attention too.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I think one of the things we should ask Tom is how much sediment is in the phase 1 storm drains. I mean, they're built to take some. There's always some. Wintertime, there's so much salt, but springtime, they're all supposed to be cleared, relatively speaking. But they're also designed to have that basin to catch the sediment so it doesn't get into the detention pond and into, therefore, the wetlands, which is obviously our big concern. So we'll see what we can do to get some more information specifically about phase 1 from the project leader.
Excuse me, Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to go take a ride through on Friday.
Okay.
And take a look at it. I'm just wondering if there's more. So detention basins are made to catch sediment so that it doesn't get into the wetlands. But
Right.
we also want to make sure that there's not an excessive amount going in, because it will require more cleaning. And from what I understand, it sounds like that's going to be up to the homeowners association. I'm just wondering if they're compliant with SWIP at this point. If there's exposed soil that's going to be exposed for more than 14 days, they're supposed to cover it or somehow make sure it's not eroding down into the road.
Right. So that point has been made clear, and that's one of the reasons they've started to put sedimentation controls at the entrances of Oakley Drive lots that are not yet developed. Because that was in fact one of the sources. It's not the big one. Historically, this project has not managed their sedimentation controls very well, especially with stockpiles of dirt. And the current project manager says that he believes he's doing better, though I haven't evaluated that. I actually didn't see stockpiles this time, which is a surprising change.
Correct. So we just had a major rain event. At least in my area of the state, we've reached over the 1 inch. So there should have been a SWIP form done in the last week. So we'll probably be requesting that. Just because I've been out there a couple times in the last year, and there is a lot of sediment. I'm happy it's not leaving the site, which is the main concern. But the SWIP regs are pretty specific about how long you can leave soil exposed for, and stockpiles and such, and how much sediment can they. I'm assuming they still have. Last time I was out there, they had catch basin sedimentation controls, like bags in the catch basins, and they should be cleaned out regularly if if they're not. And the commission does have jurisdiction, even though it's outside of the 100-foot, you have jurisdiction because that water is going to leave the area outside of the 100-foot and get into the 100-foot, because obviously all the detention basins are down gradient.
Right. Jen, when was the last time you were on site?
Well, it's been a while. I know Alan went out there once. I was unable to make the last big site visit, but like I said, Friday I'm going to be in the OCAM office, and I'll do a drive-by and stop and look. It's been a little while.
The reason I ask is because Tom point blank admitted that not a single storm drain has silt bags.
Okay,
But
so
he
last
was
time
going
I
to
was
put
out
them
there,
all in.
there were silt bags. So what happened to the silt bags?
I'm
They were
afraid.
pretty full, so I'm guessing, I don't know, like the fire hydrant last time I was out there was half covered in silt. So, you know, with Massachusetts being a non-delegated state, we don't have, the SWIP is really left up to other agencies to make sure it's being followed.
Okay.
It's much easier. So the commission absolutely can request the SWIP reports and make sure that because that water is eventually going to flow down to an area that you are jurisdictional to.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
So,
DPW, I've had conversations with the DPW commissioner about exactly this giant question of who has jurisdiction over the SWIP and stormwater in general. And we know that Concom at least has processes to manage construction and post-construction monitoring, and DPW not so very much.
Right. Because we're a it's much easier than delegated states, but they seem to only happen out in the Midwest for some reason. I don't know. So, but you know, EPA is probably not going to come out here to look at the site. However, any agency that has jurisdiction over the water eventually can request those SWIP reports and can ask for good management practices. And I'd be happy to forward you some information on what a SWIP inspection should look like and what the results should be. There's some EPA brochures out there. Yeah, that's fine. In another life, I used to do that full time. So I just love water that flows downhill.
That's it.
So,
I can tell.
Yeah, I live and breathe it. But yeah, I will come out there on Friday and just take a look and see what's going on, because it has been a little bit since I've been out there.
Right. So you'll be surprised at how far along phase 2 is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to look at phase 3 or not.
We'll see what time I have to be like in 7 places on Friday. So.
Well, of course. So it'll be time constrained.
Yeah. If not, I'll come back on Monday and finish it up if I have to. But I am curious because it's been a little bit. We've been working on other subdivisions that are going in town. It's been my major focus. So
in case you don't know, phase 3 starts at Main Street and works inward.
Right. I have driven by. So I saw that. So.
Okay, great. Just making sure you're aware.
And
if you get time.
Right. Phase 4 is where we have the most, we as in DCR has the most jurisdiction, because that's where our crossing is that we have, you know, a direct tributary. So that's where our main focus.
That's where the crossing is. And that's also where that's where the joining, that's where there becomes a single street from Charnock Hill Road all the way to Main Street. That really binds everything together. And then phase 5 is one or more little cul-de-sacs. I don't think there's anything.
Correct.
I don't remember what exactly was in phase 5, but I know that it's not, yeah.
I have the subdivision tattooed on my arm, don't you?
Interestingly enough, one of the questions I asked both Gary and the project leader is, can I get a copy of the plans? So I'll ask you, do you actually have a copy of the plans, the subdivision plans and all the stormwater stuff?
I have a hard copy, like paper copy in my OCAM office. Let me see if I have a digital. I might have it. I'm trying to, since, you know, because of COVID, we're all kind of working remotely.
Right.
I don't know if that one I have digitized, but if I don't, I can probably scan it sometime next week and send it to you if I don't have it.
Well, I'm supposed to have already received a set, electronically, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's another thing I'm going to ding.
Okay, I will look and I'll try to get that to Mika.
Great. Thank you very much. And if I get it first in electronic form, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
No need to scan it if it's already done.
Yeah, I have a feeling I have it somewhere because
Okay.
I'm pretty big on digitizing everything. So
All right. Sean Mead, I see your hand up. Please introduce yourself.
Sean Mead, 73 Woodside Avenue. Peter, I just had a question, and I'm not sure also this is really from Laura Schiffman with Mass Stormwater a while back. I think you were CC'd on the email from Joe Buckley about stormwater and being in charge of detention ponds and things like that.
Mhm.
And he stated that the state really has no guideline for it, and it's up to the town and who kind of oversees that stormwater quality and whatnot within the town. Did you get a copy of that as well?
I vaguely remember seeing it, but I couldn't tell you when.
Yeah, I think it was about a month ago, and I still haven't been able to hear back from anyone. She's the only one that was actually answered a lot of the questions I had in regards to that, and who oversees the cleanup, what needs to be cleaned up, and when, I guess.
Right. And in fact, there's the email to, but I didn't want to actually open that, but that's okay. And if I start to do it by subject. Right. Laura had said that, and then this is Joe's response to it. So let's see if we can read this all, and I'm not. I never got a response to this, so I haven't seen anything more. Goes to the HOA, we're not a big town. Oh, actually, this sure looks like the initial question that Laura would have answered. Oh, Laura. And this fundamentally is Laura's response, which I believe just says, do what you're going to do. But common question, something the town has to decide on its own. Town could opt for self-certification. It's up to the town. Oh, it's up to the town to how to enforce noncompliance. And that's going to become a deeper question for the town right there about funding, all of the federal mandates.
So is the question for this, who cleans the basins once the roads are accepted?
No, the question I had is who in the town covers stormwater?
Okay.
Is that something that you guys cover? Is it the DPW, select board, planning board? Where does that fall amongst stages? But it kind of jumped out for us.
So for stormwater standards under the Mass DEP handbook, the Conservation Commission does look at compliance with the state's regulations with subdivisions like this. With the superseding order, I think a lot of that was also then reviewed by the state. For individual lots that were permitted through the Conservation Commission, like if you permit just single family houses, they are not, they are, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for?
A&R lots.
Yeah, they don't have they don't need to comply with the stormwater standards necessarily, but the subdivision as a whole does. So in that sense, we do look at it as a project standpoint. But I guess in stormwater moving forward after construction, that might be, you know, usually there's kind of the operation and maintenance documents that are a part of the approval, you know, that states the guidelines that of how and the frequency that these basins or other stormwater features need to be cleaned. But in terms of like different types of applications, you know, on a smaller level, then we might not be involved. And that's only when, you know, it's within an area jurisdictional to the Conservation Commission. Do we look at it with compliance with the stormwater standards from the state?
Right, and let me complicate that answer even more. The town of Rutland accepted a stormwater bylaw a couple years ago now. That was a requirement, by the way, of the MS4 permit, which is the EPA. And I believe that puts it in the hands of the DEP for monitoring and for compliance. I don't know what that means for private land. I just don't know.
So I've reached out to DEP, the DPW, and the town, and everybody just says, well, it's on them, it's on them, it's on them. And I've just been around and around and around. That's why I proposed a question to you is, in regards to this subdivision, who has the final say? Is it select board, DEP, Concom, planning board, DPW? Who can make the decision moving forward with those questions that were proposed by Joe Buckley?
I believe that at the end of the day, it will end up being concurrence among DPW and the select board fundamentally to make the decision.
Okay, that works. It's been going around and around, and I know you heard it through the planning board meeting. We're going on almost 6 to 8 months of trying to get answers, and everybody pointing fingers to the next person and going around in a circle. So I'm just trying to find out overall who's going to be the one to ask the question to about this. And seeing as it was covered by DEP and they say, well, it deals with the town, it's just been kind of a merry-go-round of questions that have yet to go answered.
Right. So I'm about to say words that I can't justify legally, and that I don't even know what the correct process would be. Having said all those words, if someone were to prepare a land taking by the town to include all the stormwater structures, and that were to be accepted by the town, then I think that the responsibility becomes obvious as the town's responsibility. That is just a thought. Again, not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV. I only pretend to be one in certain meetings. And I think it will be hard for the town to take the responsibility for the stormwater issues without owning the land. That's just my gut feel about this.
Or at least having an easement on that.
Okay, and that's kind of...
I don't know that an easement by itself will do it. An easement allows the town to go onto it, but that doesn't mean that the town has responsibility for it.
Good point.
And so again, this is my gut feel, not being a layperson. My gut feel tells me an easement is insufficient for the town to take responsibility.
Now that's kind of where we've been at. It allows them to do work on it if need be, but doesn't make them responsible, doesn't make them have to do anything.
Right.
Now, being that this is a stormwater endpoint for the town's stormwater system once they take over the road, if they take over the road. How does that tie into this? That's one question I haven't been able to get an answer, is if it's the end management for the stormwater from the road, and say something happens in the road, does that make the town responsible for cleaning this up, or vice versa?
So again, this is not a legal opinion. If something happens to the road, the town is responsible for repairing the road, and anything that happened, I'll just say downstream, as an effect to that road. And if there were wetlands impacts because of something about the road, then that would be the town's, it would be traced back to the town, and therefore the town would be required to repair any damages done. And we can, I'm not going to go into the whole how orders get done, but if, however, normal wear and tear, just normal use of the system in this day and age, caused something inappropriate to enter the wetlands, it's the landowner of the place the wetlands got entered is who's going to end up being responsible to fix. Is that kind of clear?
I think that kind of makes sense. So the detention pond being the endpoint before the wetlands, it would fall back to the homeowners association in the end.
Exactly.
Okay.
Again, not a legal opinion, my best understanding of things.
That clarifies some of the questions I had, and thanks again for taking that time to answer those, I guess.
I'm glad I could at least give you information. I'm not sure I made your day any better. Are there any other questions about Brice-Lemon?
Peter, actually, can I just, make one more comment?
Yes, of course.
Do you think it would be, I know we asked for the approved plans from planning board, but I really think at this point, someone needs to do some digging through the files to find that final approval and the associating documents from the planning board side. That should describe more about the stormwater infrastructure, because planning board does have, bylaws for the subdivision approvals related to stormwater management. So there should have been documents submitted that kind of outlined a lot of these issues for this particular subdivision. So I think if I'm happy to do this if the commission is amenable to maybe reaching out to Dave George to seeing what else he might be able to pull from there and seeing if we can kind of go through that a little bit more thoroughly.
You could certainly, I have no objection to you doing that. I'm still trying to get electronic copies of things, and that would be all the plans, all 54 pages of plans. And I'll add the SWIP to that list to get electronically. We should be able to get that.
We should also, if we can, I'm assuming there was a stormwater report that went along with the submission. That would be good to get as well.
Yep. Okay, I see hands again. So, Mr., Mrs., or Ms. iPhone, please identify yourself.
Nick Nugent, 9 Sedona Circle.
Oh, Nick's back. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to label my my Zoom ID. That probably would have made it easier for you guys.
That's okay. I can do that.
We'll do that next time. So I just had a question. If you guys voted that you had no position on recommending acceptance of the subdivision to the town
of the phase one
of phase one
street,
right?
Yes.
If this, runoff and water issue going into the wetlands is in fact an issue, could that change your position to where you as the Concom would not recommend acceptance of phase one?
In truth, I doubt that it would. The reality is what we would do is we would enforce the regulations that we have, which would make them fix the problem that's allowing sedimentation to make its way through their system.
Which would have to take place before the town meeting. Their fix would have to take place.
No, I don't think it would. That's not clear to me.
Okay.
Because odds are, again, I'm no expert on Brice-Lemon. I've just been involved with it peripherally for a bit. And even, it was actually, the orders and conditions were written before I was on the commission. So I didn't study the plans in depth. Having said that, at this point, it feels most likely that any sedimentation that's going into the phase one storm drain system comes uphill from phase two. And so it seems most likely to me, again, site walk will tell us a lot, that that anything that's working its way that way shows a phase two erosion control problem, not a phase one stormwater problem. And in fact, it would be our job, were there to be any enforcement action, it would be our job to find out, to determine not just that there's a problem, but to root it back to its source so that the problem goes away. Is that clear?
Yeah, I understand that. I guess my question is the detention pond considered phase one?
In truth, the detention pond, no. The fast answer is it is, well, depends on which detention pond, but more importantly, the detention pond is not part of the taking.
Okay.
It's only the road and its directly installed pieces. So the storm drains themselves would be part of it, but not the detention ponds. The detention ponds are staying with the HOA, at least today.
All right. So the roads and the properties as well, each individual lot.
No. The lots aren't. The town will take only the the road itself. So everybody else's property is their own property.
It's the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sean, your hand's up. Go ahead, please.
Just to, I guess, piggyback off of Melissa's point, I think you were asking about the operation and maintenance plans that were in part of the plans. I've asked a few people for those and what they may say, and that part, from what I can find, isn't there. And the one part that we did find is that it's best maintenance practices, leaving it open to, I believe, the stormwater handbook and what they require for maintenance and inspection of the detention pond and stormwater structures after construction is completed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's more to that, and if you do find anything, is there any way I can find out what you guys find, or do I have to go? Okay.
Well, what we work with are public documents. There's nothing private or confidential in anything we'll be looking at. So we are happy to share public documents with the public.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just to add to that, Peter, if we can get our hands on plans, SWIP reports, stormwater reports, anything of that nature, I'm sure we'll be discussing it at a future meeting to indicate here's what we found and here's what's in it.
Yep, I agree.
And if there is, I assume there is a stormwater report, there should have been. I would think probably as part of the planning board filing, but also as part of the original notice of intent would require a stormwater report. An O&M plan would be required in that stormwater report. So hopefully eventually we can get our hands on it, take a look at it, and report back to the commission and the public as to what we found.
That's fine. Yep. Maria Rumbakis, please go ahead. Name and address, please.
Maria Rumbakis, and I'm from 69 Woodside Ave. I have a couple of questions, and I'm just wondering if Jen maybe knows some more information. Last week we sat on the planning board meeting, and the rail trail that they do have, that's kind of a dangerous slope. If you do come to visit, definitely take a peek at it. There's a slope right into the pond, and then there's a slope to get into the rail trail access point. They stated that there was no ADA requirements for rail trail accesses, and this might be a completely different personnel, but I know that you seem to have a lot of knowledge, but I didn't know if you knew if there was any ADA requirements that need to happen for those trails.
So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm using earphones now, so because so we wouldn't require an ADA requirement based on our regulation. Mm-hmm. But I would reach out to the Greenway, what is the Wachusett Greenway Committee? Colleen, I can't think of Colleen's last, Abrams, something like that. Yeah, and she might want it ADA compliant, because I know there are some parts of the rail trail right now that aren't ADA requirement based on slope, and she's trying to get that those areas modified so everything is ADA compliant.
And what is her name again?
Let me send it tomorrow to you. It's Colleen. It's like Abrams or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head.
It is Abrams. You're right, Jen.
Is it Abrams? Okay, yeah.
From
and I might have yeah, she's from the, I think it's called is it the Wachusett Greenway Committee?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. I have her contact email for her. I can send that to you.
And I'm just wondering, and again, I'm new to this whole situations, but obviously the path that they've made is through stone and crushed stone. Now, is that stone going to affect the wetlands or the pond? I mean, it just crushed stone. So I'm just wondering, like, what is the requirements there?
I'm going to take a look at it tomorrow or on Friday, because I haven't been there since when I was out there last, the path was just like natural vegetation mowed down.
Right.
I didn't think they were putting anything over it. So that kind of comes to a surprise to me if they've like put crushed stone on. So I will add that to my site walk visit on Friday.
Okay. And then I have another question. So I'm just wondering, because of the incorrect drainage that they've done in the previous houses that already are built, and I'm still new and trying to figure this out, what happens? Obviously, they can't correct those, so they're trying now to correct it, but later on, the things that they did is going to affect the future, which comes to our problems as the HOA, is that they've messed up creating these safety, like water passages, and so now we're going to be liable for those. So how does that affect us? Because it just seems that if they did something incorrect, it's going to affect the future, and we're going to have to pay for it. So how does that lie? I guess I just wanted some clarification.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, because this was a long time ago that project was permitted, I believe the Conservation Commission denied it. Am I correct with that? And it went to a superseding order of conditions through DEP, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. So I would reach out to DEP and say that the drainage isn't acting the way it was supposed to be acting based on what they permitted. And DEP would then have to make them correct it, and there should probably be some kind of supplemental or amended order to correct, with new plan. If they're adding drainage to their stormwater plan, that needs to be documented as part of an amended order of conditions, or in this case, amended superseding order of conditions. So the commission, although you still have jurisdiction, I believe, and again, it's been a long time since that project came forward, I believe DEP issued the order of conditions for that as a superseding, correct?
That is exactly correct.
Right.
And
so
it wasn't that we denied, it's that they were appealed by residents. No, we took action. I vaguely recall we did an order of conditions, but they were appealed by residents.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that it exceeded the 45 days and then it went to a superseding. But it's been, I mean, it has to be what, 5-6 years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and I cover a lot of towns, so sometimes I forget. Yeah, so it would really be DEP. I believe Marty Suberg issued it, but he's retired, and I think Gary Domain took over. So I'd reach out to Gary.
Yeah, Gary was the DEP representative at the site walk.
Yeah, because Marty retired, so I think Gary took it over.
Yep.
Okay. And then just to clarify what you were discussing with Sean, if an affected thing happened by a wetlands on a house property, like near to the wetlands, they're responsible, or the whole HOA? I just need a clarification.
If the source of the problem can be tracked to an individual to an individual person, it is that person's responsibility to repair and fix.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I think that's basically it. If it's something general with the system that's outside of public control, it's whoever the private party is that a finger could be pointed towards.
So say a house, there's something incorrect about it and they don't know about it, and later on it's due to the infrastructure of the house, that house is responsible for something that they don't even know about. I mean, I'm just saying potentially. Yes. I just know that there's a lot of houses that are being built close to the wetlands, and so it's not like we get a permit for infrastructure. We don't know what's going on.
So each individual house within the 100-foot receives its own order of conditions. The subdivision as a whole received a superseding order of conditions for the drainage of the whole subdivision, but not individual house lots.
Okay.
The commission can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way it should be done, and that's the way I remember it being done on it. That
is exactly it. Let me give you an example, Maria. Suppose that somebody's oil tank leaks. It gets through the floor and works its way, and the oil works its way into the wetlands, and it's detected. Then oil is a very bad, actually probably can't happen because I don't think there are any oil tanks on all of Brice-Lemon. But let's just pretend. If that were to happen, and conservation or DEP were to track the source of the oil back to an individual lot, it is up to that lot owner to repair everything that happened because of that oil spill.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Peter, this is Steve Maintainus again. Sorry, I think that the environmental issue would be obviously kind of implied if there was like an oil spill, but I think more so what Maria was referencing, maybe I'm speaking for her here, but the way I was interpreting it was, what if there's any drainage issues? So I'm going to use my lot as an example. I've got, a 30-foot incline behind my house that was not supposed to be here based on the plans and specs of what I purchased, right? And the main concern that I have is I've got some serious runoff coming from the back of my yard, and it's draining down into 3 or 4 other lots. And because of that, what is the implication here for me buying this lot that was, in my opinion, not presented or not transferred to me the way it was portrayed, and sediment comes from the house behind me up on the hill, rolls into my yard, now goes down into the storm basins, and then washes out and into that retention pond. So is that my responsibility as the homeowner, or is it the builder's responsibility because they built it that way?
Mr. Chair, can I try to answer that question?
Please do.
It's a civil matter. You purchased the lot. You would have to take it up civilly with the developer that the lot was not built to spec.
Sure.
But ultimately, the erosion's coming, the runoff is coming from your lot, so the commission can say you're responsible, but then you would then take it to the builder. And I know that is a really horrible answer I just gave you, so that's why I'm going to do it.
No, it's a realistic answer.
But honestly, I mean, that's how, as a state agency, that's how we would look at it. Like the commission is the commission, but I work for the state. We would look at it, okay, the runoff's coming from your property, you're responsible, but we would fully expect that you would probably then go after the builder for not building it to spec.
Yeah, I mean, that might happen.
Sense?
That might happen anyways. It's not, I'm not,
Right.
I mean, that's most likely.
So I answer, it's a really crappy answer. I'm really sorry, but that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. If your lot is not within jurisdiction of a state agency, but your runoff eventually gets to the jurisdiction of an agency, we're going to look at where that runoff comes from.
Sure. I'm sure you've seen, if you go down there,
I've seen everything. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to see my entire front yard in that pond. To be honest with you, that's.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a ride out there on Friday because it's been a while.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the public? Hearing no more, I'm going to move on. And my moving on is actually to continue talking about Brice-Lemon, but I'm going to talk about phase 3 now. So phase 3, as I said, is the part that starts at Main Street and works into the property. That's in fact where our site walk started. We literally walked Main Street, up that path, past all the equipment. We examined the detention ponds. We examined the structures that are there. We looked at the slopes. My goodness, it's getting late in the season. There's a lot of steep slopes that don't have, that don't have plantings to control runoff and erosion. And that concerns the heck out of me. Somewhere along the way beyond the detention pond, some large vehicle had run down the hill and crossed into, actually destroyed part of the sedimentation barrier, and there was infiltration of sediment into that. That was actually self-reported to DEP. I didn't hear about it, but Gary had heard about it. So there's already a plan to take care of that under DEP's control. As I say, erosion over the winter is going to be, and in the spring, it's going to be my big concern for phase 3. And in fact, that goes right along with the reports from Quinn Engineering, I believe, who's doing the reports for the planning board. More than that, we'll have to see. The detention pond looks okay for its current state. There are actually a couple different layers of ponds, and they even put up riprap or crushed stone to divide the detention pond into individual catch basins, basically, which is actually a really good idea because it really helps. There is some slowing of the water, and it will keep the sediment further back relative to where it would get closer to the wetlands. And that appears to be functioning from everything I can see. They say they're going to keep up on cleaning them. All we can do is monitor. And I think that's all I have. Anybody have questions for phase 3?
You said those slopes, Peter, they were still earth slopes,
yes,
disturbed, not stabilized.
Yes.
How tall was the vertical height? Pretty tall.
Yeah.
Okay. And pretty
20
steep.
feet, 25 feet, 30 feet.
And steep.
And steep, yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion, I wouldn't want to walk it, and I didn't.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Just curious.
So I'm going to really move on now, and let's talk about discussion topic number 4, the final draft of the conservation restriction for Maple Hill Estates. Melissa, I don't think I ever got anything about the permanent markings or where is it? There it is. The permanent markings, or if you got in contact with the man whose name I've forgotten at the OEEA, who would.
Yeah, so I talked to John, JIO from EEA, and he gave me the Word doc, which I sent to Tamika, which was nice. That was approved with local signatures. He said that Angela from let me pull it up. Hold on one second. Sorry. He had been talking with, I lost my mind. There it is. Angela Cormier from the law office of George P. Kurtzy.
Okay, yep.
And they're the ones who submitted it for CR review. And then he said that he, kind of wanted to verify that the town, aka the Conservation Commission, had already reviewed it before, and he was under that impression. So they had approved it for local signatures on July 16th of this year. So I'm assuming that the version that we got, I didn't compare them, was what was approved. But he said any revisions should be sent, back to Angela and, copy him too when they submit it to the state, just to make sure everyone's in agreement.
Okay.
And then what? It was just where to put the boundary markers section.
Yeah, I don't have language for the boundary markers, and I'm still wasn't sure what the place was. It's not, as far as I'm concerned, the placement is less important than the language.
I thought I had sent something out, but possibly not. I remember last time we were talking about it in the access section, and I think that's where I found it in another one. It might be on my work computer. Because I think, yeah, that's where I found discussion of it most in terms of access, because it would talk about if there was a dispute to put it in, but instead in the beginning it just had laid out that boundary markers shall be placed. Yeah, I can't find it on this laptop.
All right, send it to me, and I will. Yeah. Does it say at grantor's expense explicitly, or grantee's expense?
I want to say yes, but I think it's up to the commission, who they want to pay for it. I think it was at the grantor, the owner of the property. I was confused.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, because that's what I prefer.
Yeah.
All right, send that to me. I'll incorporate, and we'll do a final, hopefully a really final, honest to goodness review next time.
Okay.
Final.
That's right.
Yeah,
really
I'm sorry,
final,
guys.
honest, no more final.
Yeah, I thought I'd sent that over right after the last meeting, but I could have lied to myself.
No, you're just ignoring me. It's okay. I'm used to it.
I know. I'll lie to myself.
Thank you. All right. Moving on. Follow up on foreclosed property on Overlook Road. This is that property that we discussed last time. We wrote a letter saying, hey, maybe you should offer it to the abutters. And if that doesn't pan out, then we agree that you can offer it as that Concom will be happy to take it. We, et cetera, et cetera. The select board responded very quickly saying, we are not allowed to sell it to abutters directly. It has to go through auction. So I wrote a response back saying, okay, then we see conservation value in that land. And we believe we can get access from Princeton. We believe that there's at least a path for us to get access, perhaps through the town of Princeton, perhaps from another abutter. We'll talk about that. Skip and I actually had a fast offline conversation about how bad access might be to that. So we we do need somebody to figure that out. But I have been told the select board is likely to accept our recommendation, but they took no action last night. That there, in fact, was not on the agenda last night, so they could take no action last night. And so we're waiting to see if it just suddenly appears on the town rolls as owned by the Conservation Commission, or if the select board's going to take any other action. Skip, do you have any?
It's been earmarked for conservation,
Okay.
and that was right from the town hall,
Okay.
not the selectman's office.
Great. So if it's already moving, fantastic. Once the Conservation Commission has ownership, then we'll start talking to the town of Princeton. We'll talk to the Williams folks to see about access, and for that matter, how much of a paper road is Overlook Road? We need to find that out. But I'm not going to discuss that tonight. But that's the current status. It's coming to us all in good time. Moving on, an amended notice of intent for TRC at the solar site, proposed solar site at Glenwood and their extensions. It has been proposed that Conservation Commission do a site walk this time of year without a plan, just because it'll be a lot easier to see it now than it will be to see it in another 2 months, and also to evaluate it. So I'm in favor of that. The representative is not available this weekend, but is available the following weekend. So I'd like to know who'd be interested in a site walk. Come on. Let's keep going with our Saturday at 10 motif. Sorry, so that would be the 31st. Oh, it's Halloween.
All right.
Oh, brother. That's not that bad. Huh? What's that?
Spooky.
Yeah, well, it's spooky, and I have a lot of last-minute Halloween decorations to put up. The dragon doesn't go up until Halloween afternoon.
That works for me.
It works for you. All right. So let's put anyone else explicitly interested or explicitly not interested in the site walk?
I don't think I should be present, but the landowner might want to be notified so they can open up the entrance to get into it.
Oh,
because it's
details.
Because it's blocked by several big trees. I don't mean falling down trees. I mean,
Oh, again, little problems.
Logs.
So October 31st at 10 a.m.
Which one is this, Peter? Where's this?
199.
Yeah, 199 Glenwood.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Do we just come up your driveway, or is there a better access point?
Well, you can go beyond the house, and if I know definitely you're coming, I'll make sure there's a moved. You can just drive right down through. Otherwise, come in the driveway and go down through the barnyard and down along the edge of the fence, and the yellow road.
I think you can expect that we will be there on the 31st at 10 a.m.
All right, it'll be open.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, we'll post it anyway, even though I don't think we'll have a quorum. Might be only the two of us, depending upon how Melissa's feeling.
I'll do my best. I'll try to get a off-road scooter or something.
I usually post them anyways just to cover our bases.
Right. It can't hurt. Alrighty, but I'm not posting as a site walk next Sunday because it's just going to be three of us. There won't be a quorum, so I'm not going to post it.
Okay. You mean the one for Brice-Lemon?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So that's that, and you will reach out to Maria?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And would you do me a favor and make sure that she actually said the 31st is okay? I think she did.
Yes, I will confirm. She did say the only time she wasn't available was this weekend, but
Right.
I will definitely confirm. If something changes, I'll let you guys know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Moving on, another potential site walk. So couple of members have been out to the Benander Place on East County Road. This is the replacement of culverts. You were there before the work, right?
Yes, Wilson and I went out.
Did they say the work is done or did they say the work is in progress, Tamika?
He said that the work, let me just double check the email real quick, but I'm pretty sure he said it was done.
Yeah.
He said,
I drove down in there the other day. See, now
sorry, I'm just double checking it. He said they completed the pipe repair last week when it was completely dry. It went very well with little or no soil disturbance. They are going to patch over the areas this winter and repair in the spring.
Oh. So are we interested in the site walk now, or do you want to wait till it's all done in the spring?
Yeah, I'll just wait.
Okay, so please pass along that, thank him for his offer, but we will wait until the repairs are complete before we do a site walk.
Okay, no problem.
And Tamika, you might want to remind him that COC requests now require as-built just to get that process started if he needs to.
Sure.
Right. Well, would he do the site? Would he do the as-built before all the repairs are done? I wouldn't think so.
If it's just patching the top, then he can. I mean, it's just kind of catching the elevations of the culvert.
All right, here come the words that are the most favorite words of all from the people in the back room. Is there any other business before the commission today? And the answer is yes, there is, one small bit. But nobody's raised anything else. So I will ask the magic question that I said I was going to ask. Is there a need for a special meeting on the 3rd, 4th of November, or do we want to wait until the 17th for our next regularly scheduled meeting? I didn't see a lot of carry forward.
Yeah. And only if there's an emergency. I don't see any point.
Yeah. Okay.
So go to the 17th.
So then our next meeting will be the 17th. The hearing will be continued to the 17th, and we will see what, and even if Mark has a submission for that Finn Park Road, there's no need to, we don't have to rush that because the work's all done.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're done.
I think it's a shame, but that's all right.
Yep.
Peter, if he does get that to me within enough time for me to post it as a hearing, is the commission comfortable with it being a hearing versus just a submission?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
We've already had a site walk of the site during the construction.
Okay.
No need to hold things up. As far as I'm concerned, we can just rock through it as quickly as practicable.
Okay. I figured as much, but I just like to check with you guys just in case.
And Tamika, if he gets it to you sooner than you think he will, and we won't be having that meeting within 21 days, just let me know because I have a standard form that he can sign to waive that 21-day requirement.
Oh, very good point. Thank you, Melissa.
I can probably send that to you anyways. I'll add that to my list to edit.
Yeah, and then I'll have it and I'll save it with my other stuff. Okay. Perfect.
I'll add that.
Okay. Hearing no other business.
You need a motion to adjourn?
That would be awesome if we could get a motion.
So I did. Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Clark.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Denza.
Aye.
Crane, aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all so very, very much.